is Andrew Bernier. I am a visiting assistant professor of STEM education in the Department of Curriculum Instruction at the University of Cincinnati School of Education. I was gobbled up into teaching, not haphazardly, but somewhat. I just kind of fell into a classroom in a way. It was middle school science, so I was let alone teaching about science, but then I was also realizing just how poorly constructed our education systems were to actually teach about the underlying systems, the health of systems resiliency that informs sustainability. And so through research and my doctoral work, seeing how our education systems are more modeled for the Industrial Revolution, which happened a long time ago, are really ill-equipped design-wise to take on the complexity that is wicked problems that sustainability is trying to address. And so my research in sustainability focuses more on how can we use systems and complexity and resilience dynamics that informs healthy systems such as biodiversity, and how can we apply those types of structures to curriculum design. The original reason why I was hired was to overhaul the STEM teaching and learning certificate offered through the Department of Curriculum Instruction. STEM has been a cornerstone innovation point in education for over the last decade, but now it's starting to get a little tired, if you will. And so we've seen enrollment declines in that area. So we wanted to revitalize and revamp that. So we did a pretty broad canvas spread analyzing what other certificate programs are doing across the country and also new innovative trends. And naturally, it's starting to gravitate more towards the inclusion of sustainability, equity within STEM, community-focused orientation. And so my project for the last few months has been redesigning the certificate to be more inclusive of sustainability initiatives, but also broaden the reach of those who would want to pursue a certificate to include informal educators. This might be museum professionals, folks at nature centers, parks, your local library, and not just in-service teachers. As we're seeing, STEM is broadening in definition, but it's also broadening in those who want to have an impact in terms of its instruction to young people. Cincinnati is a hotbed of sustainability. It's impressive for a city that's now just starting to rebound in terms of population growth. There's already a robust ecosystem of individuals and organizations that have taken root in sustainability as a whole, and also more specifically in my field of sustainability education, to try to leverage these types of solutions-oriented thinking and for community solutions for the ease of everybody. Green Umbrella is probably seen as the biggest convener of sustainability talks and folks, especially within the Midwest. Within that group, I've been working with an action group called CPS Outside, CPS being Cincinnati Public Schools. And so I'm working with a small group of folks from different entities across the regions, be it, say, Cincinnati Parks, the Cincinnati Nature Center, our Civic Gardens, Groundwork, Ohio River Valley is a phenomenal player, all trying to empower access for our students to get into these spaces. So I'm focusing specifically on professional development and working with in-service teachers with these organizations to help them improve and make more accessible professional development opportunities for teachers to get their students to local green spaces. So not only the accessibility to, say, parks and adjacent woodland lots and what have you, or even to just look at a field on their school campus differently and see the micro ecosystems that exist there. But really to make our teachers feel more comfortable and confident to see their campuses and perhaps adjoining parks as living learning labs. And that is something that you're not going to find in a lot of traditional teacher education or district professional development. And so it's working on behalf and with these more environmentally focused groups in the area to empower teachers to then feel comfortable to empower their students to get dirt under fingernails, to smell plants, to feel condensation and know that that is learning, and to know that there are standards that can be satisfied from just exposure and in time outside. But that's going to take a fundamental unlearning and reteaching of teachers to get them more comfortable to help facilitate that type of instruction in local green spaces. So that's one project that I think is really encompassing a lot of different partners who have a shared vision of enriching the lives and time in nature for our young students across the region. Cincinnati is obviously the foundational institution, urban institution for a city that's on a very interesting path as regarding its own sustainability journey. One of the very, very, very first conversations with anybody that I had when I first arrived to the city was the previous director of the Office for Environmental Sustainability for the city of Cincinnati. And one of the things that he really impressed on me was the fact that Cincinnati is going to be a climate haven, meaning domestic climate refugees, particularly folks on coastlines that are going to be subject to flooding because of climate change, they're going to be flocking inland. And Cincinnati is going to become a hotbed. Actually, Ohio, as he told me, is going to be the third most climate stable state in the future. We have readily access to water. It's actually going to be somewhat temperature stable in a way. Cincinnati is still going to have some heat issues, and there is still going to be some issues with flooding and landslides. But as far as other instability factors, it's going to be more stable than other places that are going to be actually inhospitable. So Cincinnati, of course, was previously on the down end in terms of population. We just had our first population growth from this prior census. We still have infrastructure that can accommodate well over 500,000 people. It needs to be updated, but just over 300,000 people live here, which means we have the space, but there's going to be inequity in terms of restoring and getting that space back to habitable status. You do have a lot of economic activity here. Fortune 500 companies that provide jobs here. And it is still on the bit more affordable end when it comes to housing. Of course, that is a challenge nationwide. But I think it's going to be, as Cincinnati continues to try to redefine itself as a walkable, pedestrian-friendly, it is still more car-centric than I think it should be. Those are all going to be experiments. Those are all going to be challenges to rework a car-centric city that used to be an old city as it starts to redefine itself with these other pressures from economics and climate change. Each one of those is a learning opportunity. And I think it's going to be really hard. It's going to be really on UC's prerogative to make sure that we have students shadowing and participating in each one of those new initiatives, be it road rehabilitation or street diets, be it the reweatherization of old buildings, particularly in neighborhoods that are going through revitalization. One of their core pillars is the co-op model, making sure that students are working and learning at the same time. So when they're able to be embedded in sustainability projects as the city continues to move forward with those, we need to make sure that we have one or more UC students at every single one of those, learning, providing, and absorbing input to then bring back and share into their classrooms, and to make sure that our researchers here, which are doing phenomenal things across campus for the greater good of the region, make sure that they have a fluid streamline that they can go in and perhaps collect data and participate in research for how well or how poorly these sustainability projects go, but not be extractive about it. Be more participatory and make sure that feedback and the well-being of the communities in which these projects is going is heard, so that we can have a more synergistic relationship between the communities of Cincinnati and the institution that's supposed to serve and facilitate knowledge serving the city.